Yeah, so within oligopoly, we looked at collusive model and non-collusive model, right? So when you look at collusive model, we looked at basically we were looking at collusion model. We look at cartel, and we will look at price leadership, right? While in a non-collusive model, we're going to look at what we looked. We've already done this. We've done the king demand curve, and we've also done what we call a model which is called game theory. So today's discussion will be on game theory primarily. So that's something which we're going to do today. Okay, so we'll do a non-collusive model of game theory today. That's the discussion. And then, inshallah, tomorrow we will be able to do price leadership and cartel together. So that's not a big discussion. So that will be Tuesday. And then hopefully Wednesday and Thursday we can do the rest of the topics that are left in this chapter. So within this chapter, we're looking at basically your two theories of collusion and all that. And then there's a discussion on contestable market and alternative finance, which Raza has done with you, but I'm going to go over them one more time. And also monopolistic competition, which is also not that long a discussion. Okay, so let's look at, guys, what you call our game theory. So in a game theory, basically, we're looking at a discussion. We're looking at trying to look at how the oligopoly, which is basically a market structure, jahan pe you see a lot of interdependence. How do they operate with each other? So this is a recent addition when it comes to theories, although it's been around for more than 50 years now. But basically, in economic theory, the idea of game theory, which is more mathematical, also has come into and actually has done a good job in terms of explaining how oligopoly is behaving. So the behavior of oligopoly has been sort of framed through this game theory as well. So game theory in game theory, what we'll see is this, that we'll see how let's say one firm decides to lower price, how would the other firm operate? Okay, and we'll also see the action of one firm will actually be taking into account the action of another firm. A key person, by the way, who's done a lot of work in game theory is also John Nash. And if you've seen this movie called Beautiful Mind, an excellent movie, I think Oscar winner, and John Nash was played by uh, Russell, what's his name? Um I forgot his name completely. But it's a must see from economics perspective, from psychology perspective, and so on. So I'm going to talk about how does this theory work in 1 minute. But the game theory is basically trying to look at how when two firms are looking at each other, let's say Coke and Pepsi, when they're looking at each other, and if Coke decides to lower price, Pepsi can lower price, Pepsi can increase price, Pepsi can decrease price. How will Russell Crowe? Sorry, I don't know. Yeah, sorry, Russell Crowe. I said what? I said something completely. So Russell Crowe, it was a key actor exactly, and he's an amazing actor. He's come in Gladiator as well. So Russell Crowe has played an important role in this movie, and he's got an Oscar for this as well, if I'm not mistaken. But the movie has gotten an Oscar for sure, and it's a beautiful movie to watch, and it has game theory in it as well. So yeah, okay. So guys, let's start with the game theory, and let's start with a very simple game. So in a game theory, we assume that there are two players. Okay, so let's say first I'm going to give you an example, a general example. Let's say there are two prisoners. Okay, prisoner A and B. Okay, and both of them are caught, and basically in my notes I said that the two prisoners are, like El Francisco and Desjardins. They're being interrogated for a major crime. So the police has caught them and they are being interrogated for a major crime. And the police definitely thinks that these guys are guilty, and they're kept in different cells. They both are kept in different cells, and they are not allowed to communicate with each other. Okay, so आपने एल फ्रेस्को और डेस जार्डन्स को पकड़ा है, और आपको now you're thinking, like both of these guys have committed a crime, and they're kept in different sort of cell, and the police is asking them for their statements. The police does not have enough evidence, okay, to convict them. So the problem is that police doesn't have enough evidence to convict them, but they know this. These guys are sort of involved in the major crime. Now look at this. Each prisoner is offered a deal. If he turns state's evidence and provides evidence to convict other prisoner, like if he become what we call the if he become if he provide that statement where he says that the other person has committed the crime, he will get a shorter sentence unless the other prisoner also confesses. So guys, this is what it looks like कि आपने दोनों को बोला डिफरेंट डिफरेंट कमरों में, और कहा कि अगर आप कमिट करोगे क्राइम को and you tell us exactly how it was committed, we will let you go at a lower sentence unless the other guy has also committed. So if both these guys are agreeing to confess, okay, अभी ये दोनों को different different कमरों में रखा है, तो दोनों को 5 5 साल की सजा मिलेगी. Look at this, guys. This is both of them are getting 5 5 years of sort of punishment. But if both of them are refused, sort of both of them say we have not committed the crime, then basically the police will not have that much evidence, and as a result of that, the police may end up giving both of them a lighter punishment because of the crime that they have, the minor crime that they have committed. But अगर उनमें से एक बंदा बोल दे कि जी मैंने crime commit किया है, और दूसरा बोले I have not committed a crime. So look at this, guys. If Al says he's confessed the crime, and Des says he did not confess the crime, so L will get a 1 year of punishment, and Des will get 10 years of punishment. And vice versa, if L says I did not commit a crime, look at this, guys, and Des says I have committed a crime, then Des will get 1 year of punishment, and L will get no punishment at all. So in short, we're looking at basically let's call this prisoner A and prisoner B, and prisoner A and B both have two options: to confess the crime, okay, versus not confess. Okay, so to confess and not confess. Got it? And if they both end up confessing versus not confessing, so let's look at this. If they both end up confessing the crime versus not confessing the crime, if they both end up not confessing a crime, they both will get 3 years of punishment. Why? Because the government, the police has already caught them for a crime. So ऐसा नहीं है कि वो लोग crime free हैं और वो innocent थे. They've caught them for a minor crime, but they don't have enough evidence. But if both of them end up confessing, which is something which is likely, they both will get 5 years of punishment. But if A says, I did not confess a crime, and B says, I did confess a crime, so A is basically lying, and B is uh, working to help the police. So he's kind of like a mole, as we call it. And so that basically would mean B would get 1 year of punishment, and A would get 10 years of punishment. Okay, because if you cannot confess and you've done the crime, then that's basically you get a harsher punishment. And similarly, 10 and 1. Okay, so these are what we call payoffs, guys. In this game, these are called payoffs. Zamin, what's your question? This is 3 year of punishment, 3 year of punishment. This is 1 year of punishment, and this is so. This is for B. This is for guy A. So B or A ka ye hai. Okay, so we have made what we call the payoffs, and let me tell you, I'll tell you exactly how this game is played. But before I talk about how this game is played, is there any confusion about the values? Any confusion about the values? we will use this theory to talk about how this can be used for the firm in 1 minute. Okay. Right now, we're just understanding how the game theory is being played, and we're looking at prisoners. So prisoners are right now kept in two different rooms, so they have not communicated with each other. If they both end up not confessing, you know, that's basically kind of like colluding. दोनों ने एक दूसरे से वादा किया हुआ है. Both of them have sort of promised each other that they will never give turn each other in, right? If that's the case, then they both end up not confessing, which is basically they end up colluding. And when they collude, they get a total punishment of 3 plus 3, 6 years. But if they end up not colluding and start to confess, which is basically start to sort of compete with each other in a way, they get 10 years of punishment. Had they colluded, they would be better off, but they end up not colluding. Probably, if they end up not colluding, then they will be worse off. So when you are A and B, you will need to look at what is good in your self-interest and make a decision. So let's see how this game is played. Let's say if you are prisoner A. Okay, if you are prisoner A, this is you. First, you will think, uh, will B confess or not confess? So you'll be like, will B confess or not confess? If you think B will confess, guys, if you believe B will confess, what will you do? Confess and get 5 years of punishment, or not confess and get 10 years of punishment? What is good for you? If you believe B will confess, will you confess or not confess? Exactly. And let me put you will confess. Why? Because 5 years of punishment is better than 10. So if you believe B will confess, you will also confess because 5 is better than 10. Right? But if you believe B will not confess, guys, if you are A and you believe B will not confess, will you not confess? Will you confess and have 1 year of punishment, or will you not confess and have 3 years of punishment? Zamin, assume both of them have committed a crime. So both of them have committed a crime. There is no two things about it. Yeah, you will snitch. So guys, look at this. If you believe B is not confessing, will you confess and have 1 year of punishment, or will you not confess and have 3 years of punishment? You will still confess. Exactly. Guys, do you guys see this? The way the police has given you options, it is in your interest. If we confess or not confess, you end up confessing. Are you all with me? Because अगर बी confess करेगा तो आपको 5 साल की punishment मिलेगी versus 10 साल 10 साल की. If B not confesses, you get 1 year punishment versus 3 year punishment, which means A will always end up confessing. Right? Now let's look at B. Okay. Now from B's perspective, guys, if you are B, if you decide to confess, if you sorry, if you're B and if you know A will confess, okay. So what should you do? Should you confess or not confess? If you know A is going to confess, so I'm going to look at this side. If you know A will only confess, should you confess and get 5 years of punishment, or not confess and get 10 years of punishment? Again, very good job. I'm going to choose another color for B. B will confess. Why? Because when he confesses, he get 5 years of punishment versus 10 years of punishment. Right? But if you are B, right, and if you believe A will not confess, if you're B and if you believe A will not confess, what should you do? Confess and get 1 year of punishment, and or not confess and get 10 years of punishment, or 3 years of punishment. If you are B, you will again end up confessing, because when you confess, you get 1 year of punishment. In short, guys, both guys, B will also end up confessing, and what you can see is this, that this becomes the equilibrium outcome. Are you all with me? This is the equilibrium outcome. Uh, अगर अच्छे दोस्त होंगे, that's a very good idea. So, Umar, if they both have trust with each other, guys, if they both have trust with each other, if there's no, if they trust each other, they will end up not confessing. But if there is a iota of doubt कि यार हो सकता है कि अगला मेरे साथ ना दे, or if you only look for your own self interest, then you be like यार मैं दोस्ती यारी में मुझे 3 साल की सजा मिलेगी, लेकिन कन्फेशन में हो सकता है कि अगला वाला जो है वो नहीं करे, I may end up going home for 1 year. This one being better than 5 and 3 means you will end up confessing, because you will like, yeah, what is it good for my self interest is basically one is better than 5 year of punishment or 3 year of punishment. Got it? Are we good? Does that make sense? So do we understand how the game theory game is played? Okay. Now, guys, the idea goes this, that let's look at it from a firm perspective. So firm A and B are thinking. Okay. This is firm A, which has two options: to lower price or leave price unchanged. Firm B also has a lower price or leave price unchanged. Okay. If they both lower price, this is, let's say, Ramzan May. This is Ramzan, and this is your Coke versus um, Pepsi. Okay, let me write this: Coke versus Pepsi. Okay, so they can both lower price or they can leave it unchanged. If they both lower price, of course, they will make only 20, let's say, $1 million of profit. Okay, let's say this is profit. Versus if they both leave the price unchanged, then they will sell the same quantity, but they will end up having a better price. So Ramzan mein they will both make money, right? Leaving price unchanged and not lowering it in Ramzan would mean more money for them versus lowering price and selling the same good. Okay. But if one of them lower price, let's say Coke decides to lower price by 5 rupees and Pepsi or $5, I don't know, and Pepsi doesn't do the same, then Pepsi will lose the market and Coke will gain market. Pepsi will only make 15 and Coke will make 35. Versus if they leave the price unchanged, it will be and firm B, and if Pepsi decides to lower price, then this would mean 35 for firm B, more money from firm B. Got it? Do we understand the payoff metrics? So this is basically the table above is showing us the what we call the payoff matrix, right? These are the payoffs, and these payoffs are in terms of profits. Okay, and we are assuming that there are two firms in the market, okay, with completely identical costs, products, and demand. So they are like Coke and Pepsi, and they probably have the same costs and so on. They are completely identical to each other. Duopoly means only two firms in the market, so only two firms are there in the market. They both are considering basically, should we lower price or should we leave it unchanged? Okay, if the lower price they have, if they both lower price, this is the payoff. Versus if they leave price unchanged, this is the payoff. Okay, so let's first play the game and then figure out what we call each equilibrium point. Okay, is there any question before we move on? Do we get how this game is set up? Are we good to move on? Okay, guys, look at this. Now, firm A is thinking firm B is going to lower price. So I'm going to focus here. Firm A is thinking firm B is going to lower price. So should firm A lower price and make 20, or should they leave price unchanged and make 15? Should they lower price or make price unchanged? If firm A believes firm B is going to lower price, so the answer is lower is better than leaving price unchanged. This is better than leave price unchanged. 20 is greater than exactly. But if firm A believe firm B is going to leave price unchanged. So firm is saying, okay, firm B is going to leave price unchanged. Should they lower price and make 35, or should they leave price unchanged and make 30? Again, the answer would be they should lower price. So firm A, which is Coke, is always thinking of lowering price irrespective of what firm B does. Irrespective of what firm B does, firm A is planning to lower price. Okay, now let's choose blue for Pepsi. Firm B, guys. Now, firm B is thinking about firm A. If firm B believes firm A is going to lower price, should they lower price and make 20, or should they leave it unchanged and make 15? What is better? Should they lower price? Lower price again. Good job. So they should lower price. Okay. But what if firm B believes firm A should leave price? If firm B believes firm A will leave price unchanged, should they lower price or leave price unchanged? And the answer is 35 is better than 30. They should always also lower price. Sorry. So in short, guys, look at this. This is an equilibrium. This is an equilibrium. Why? Because both firms end up lowering price. Are you all with me? Does that make sense? Both firms will end up reducing price. Make sense, guys? Both firms will end up reducing price. Now, if they both cooperate, they will leave price unchanged and make a profit of such. This is called leaving price unchanged is cooperation. Why are the firms not cooperating, guys? Anyone? Why are the firms not cooperating? Anyone? Why are the firms not cooperating? Because they are not cooperating because they don't trust each other, guys. They don't trust each other. If they had a lot of trust with each other, Coke and Pepsi, they would leave price unchanged and make a profit of 30-30 each. But the idea goes this exactly, Umar. But the problem is this that that basically is not guaranteed, because what if I promise you I will leave price unchanged and the next morning when first of Ramzan happens, I lower my price? Then you will make 15 and I'll make 35. If both these guys promise each other and then tomorrow they break the promise, nobody is going to hold them accountable. It's illegal anyways to collude. So collusion is better than the reason why this game is called game theory. Prisoner. This game is called, by the way, this game is called Prisoner's Dilemma. And the reason why it's called Prisoner's Dilemma is because cooperation is greater than collusion. I'm sorry, cooperation is greater than competition. Like in this case, lowering price is competition and not collusion. So cooperation or collusion is better than competition, but yet we end up choosing a worse outcome. Look at this, guys. 30-30 means 60 of profit versus 20-20. But you still end up doing what? You still ended up competing rather than colluding. So game is called, the reason why this game is called prisoner's dilemma is because prisoners end up competing with each other rather than colluding. Number one. Number two, guys, if they don't cooperate, for example, it is in the interest of both the players, irrespective of other players' decision, to lower price. Isn't that true? अगर आपने कॉपरेट नहीं किया तो आपके इंटरेस्ट में कि आप लोअर प्राइस करो. This non-cooperative equilibrium is called Nash equilibrium. We call this equilibrium this after the economist John Nash. This is called the Nash equilibrium. And Nash equilibrium says this. I want to go back to read this. Nash equilibrium says this, that it is in each firm's best strategy that they maintain the present behavior given the present behavior of the other firm. In other words, given I tell you what the behavior of other firm is, which is basically lower price, you may keep on lowering your price. So this equilibrium is called Nash equilibrium, because you may not, if I tell you what firm B is doing, you will still always end up lowering your price, because even if the firm B is leaving price unchanged, you will still lower your price, because what you make in terms of lowering your price, which is 35, is always greater than when you leave your price unchanged. So given the present behavior of the other firm, you will still not change the present behavior of yours, Look at this, guys. The the Nash equilibrium is one in which each firm's best strategy is to maintain its present behavior, given the present behavior of the other firm. So you will always end up lowering your price in this type of a game. And because in this type of game, the non-cooperative equilibrium makes both players worse off, we call that prisoner's dilemma. This game is called prisoner's dilemma because the players are worse off in this case. Got it? Does that make sense? Any questions, guys? Any question? Are we good? So, guys, what do we learn out of this theory of prisoner's dilemma? By the way, when you go to college, university, uh, you will actually encounter a lot of different games. But you can see this that in this kind of a game, you can look at it and you can figure out that we're doing prisoner's dilemma. You might be other sort of games that you might encounter later on in your life in university where you might see sometimes cooperation could be better. If I change the numbers, if I change the payoff, these are what we call payoffs, you will see different kind of an outcome. Got it? Are we good? Questions, anyone? Is that fine? Awesome, guys. You guys have learned the concept very quickly. Um, if I ask you what's the worst possible outcome for the players? What's the worst possible outcome here? Anyone? The worst possible outcome in this case is basically नहीं यहाँ पे let's play this game only. In this case the worst possible outcome is what? The worst possible outcome is 2020 lowering price, and we ended up having a worst possible outcome because we uh, and what's the dominant strategy? If a dominant strategy basically is a strategy that results in you to get the highest payoff, because our dominant strategy was lowering price, and both firms dominant strategy was lowering price, right? The strategy that you end up choosing is lowering price. That's what we call a dominant strategy, which you pays off, give you highest payoff regardless of what other person's action. You ended up having a lower price. That dominant strategy ended up us being in a situation, like in a situation which is worse off, which is probably the worst of outcome. Make sense? Are we good? So, do we understand what Nash equilibrium is? Nash equilibrium is simply um, you choose your best strategy given your rival's sort of strategy, and the idea is just that irrespective of what the other rival is doing, you're choosing still lowering price. So in this case, guys, the dominant strategy for us, the key term we use is dominant strategy, is basically choosing to lower price. And the reason why we choose this strategy of lowering price is because this gives us the maximum possible payoff, which is 35. Okay. And the fact that you don't trust the other guy, you may end up in a situation um, of being what you call you are worse off in this situation. Okay. Okay, guys, that's the discussion here. I want to see if there are some. Let me just quickly. Yes, consumers तो of course better off करीबा. Consumers के हिसाब से तो ये बहुत अच्छी खबर है. Because for them this is good news in the sense that they will be like happy to look at the possibility of lowering price. Make sense? Yes, Damin, I will teach the same thing. Okay, guys. Okay, guys, I'm done with this discussion. Tomorrow, I'll try to do two more theories and then we'll wrap up oligopoly, inshallah ta'ala. Kal ki class mein we'll wrap up and then we will discuss um, monopolistic competition on Wednesday. Hopefully, Thursday तक ये chapter खत्म हो जाएगा. Thanks to that Friday class, we were able to do a lot more. Okay.